What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Lizard. Now, the Lizard is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and I'm really glad we have him in Marvel Legends form. He is a Build-A-Figure, so the 7 figures you need to complete the Lizard are Gwenpool, Prowler, Spider-Punk, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Woman, Mysterio, and Lasher. Once you have collected all 7 figures, you can actually complete your very own Lizard figure. So what we're going to do now is take a little break, get him off the stand, and then we'll have a closer look at the Lizard. And so here we have the Lizard posed, fully assembled, and off the stand. Now, Lizard being a Build-A-Figure does not come with any accessories, although what would you include with the Lizard? I mean, he's pretty much everything you could ask for, with some minor things about him that we'll actually get into when we reach his articulation. But moving on to his detail, let's actually continue the review. So here we have a closer look at the Lizard's detail, and I have to say Hasbro did an amazing job with this Build-A-Figure. You can see just how much detailing went into his sculpt alone. You can see all the crevices. His eyes are really well done. Paint is solid on the eyes on both sides. Something like that you would expect them easily to mess up on. I don't know if he has some dry brushing on him or if it's just the lighting, but it does appear that there's some shading through his scale, so I do like that. Underside of his mouth is a different shade of green. You can see it's a darker shade here and a lighter shade of almost limeish, a really muted lime green right there. We do have his tongue painted, and you can see the inside of his mouth is also painted even on the roof, so I do like that we get that painted. The jacket is pretty good for the most part. You can see there's some tears in it to simulate that it's just ripping off of him, and I really do like that. It's a separate appliance, so you don't have to worry about it rubbing some paint off, and I do like it. One thing I do like about Lizard as a figure, the black shirt that he's actually wearing is a separate piece from his flesh tone. If you were to actually pull the jacket off and pull this off, he has a fully sculpted chest underneath here. Like, you can actually move this, and you can see it does move. I don't know if it's fully sculpted or if it's just sculpted to show the parts there, but they did sculpt it really nice. Those tears look really awesome. Even the top of his shirt, you can see it's missing the elastic right there, so really nice touches there. Going on to his arms, you can see more rips and tears and some scales underneath those tears. And then you can see how it started to brown right here. This sleeve is completely ripped off. Same with this one. And this one actually has more tears on it right here, but this one has better tattering. So they both have some really nice things about them. You can see more tears here. Again, painted wonderfully. They did a good job painting his scales right there. Some more detailing there. Moving on to his arm, you can see a difference in scale pattern right here versus his hand. I really do love that contrast that they did with him. It looks really, really reptilian, and that's something you would expect out of the Lizard. And then you can see the underside of his arm also sculpted differently from the outer part. It's almost like a crocodile, the way they sculpted the bigger scales on the outside and then having the smaller scales on the inside. Same with his hands. That looks really cool, and you can see the 2 shades of green that they used. Left arm is absolutely the same, although I do like the nails would have been painted. His nails are actually the same color as the plastic. Would have been nice if they had painted them black or, even yellow. I would have liked that. He is wearing purple pants, and you can see right here we have a tear in the Lizard's pants, and I do like that. The tears are also on this side. They're ripped here at the knees, and you can see his knees are exposed. Some more rips and tears at the calves, and I really do love just the amount of detailing in this figure. Again, heavy scaling going down his shins onto his foot, and we get to the 5 toes. It looks really crocodilian, if I do say so myself. And then going on to his tail, It's a little to be desired. I actually did take a hairdryer and actually curve the tail, because getting it out of packaging, it's just straight. I did curve the tail a little bit. It actually is starting to go back to its original shape. If you want to do like me, just heat this up for about a minute, conform it to the shape that you want it, run it through some cold water, and then throw it in the freezer for about 5 minutes, and it should hold its shape. But other than that, have nothing else to say about the lizard other than he's a gorgeous looking figure. So what we're going to do now is actually take a little break and get him compared to a few other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have the lizard posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have the lizard posed next to a GameStop exclusive Spider-Man and a Toys R Us 2-pack Spider-Man. Here we have the lizard posed next to a Marvel Legends Thing. And finally, here we have Lizard posed next to a Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Apocalypse. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to the Lizard's articulation. Now this is one place where this figure actually does suffer from the most, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. For starters, his head is on a hinge joint, so he can look down, he can look up, and then his mouth also hinges right there. And it's basically just both hinges working together that gives him the open mouth effect. He does have a ball joint in the head. He can look left and right. He can look down. He can look up a little bit more. But that's as far up as you're going to get him to look. And that's about how far down he can look. He can pivot his head side to side, although there's no turning his head. So we can rotate this joint. It's just hinge and ball joint right here. We have a ball joint in the shoulder which goes out to about that far. If you do try pushing it past this arm will pop off. It has happened to me several times before, so there is that. It does rotate all the way around. Good articulation there. Bicep swivel. He is double jointed at the elbow, but that's all you're going to get from him. It is a little past 90, so that's pretty good. He does swivel and hinge here at the wrist. He does have an ab crunch, which could go back further, but the way the coat is sculpted, he really can't crunch back. He can actually crunch forward quite a bit, and I really do like that. You can actually pose him any way you want right there. He has a swivel in the waist, which works pretty decently. Legs are on ball joints, which go forward to about there, go back, go out. He has a thigh swivel. And then we have his knees. Now his knees are actually sculpted in this position. You can't get them to go straight, and that's about how far back they go, so we get that much range in them. One more time. That's neutral, and that's as far back as we get. So really no movement in his knees, which is really sad. He has an ankle joint which goes forward about that far, goes back quite a bit. We do have rotation at the foot. We have a hinge in the toe. And when you work all the joints together, you can get him in really nice poses. But he kind of needs a 3-point stance at all times. And it doesn't really help that they made his tail really weird. He has a ball joint at the upper part of the tail, so it does rotate all the way around. Swivels, moves side to side. Then we have a ball hinge joint here at the tail, which goes back and forward and rotates. Don't know why it does that. And then at the bottom of his tail, I don't know why it hinges side to side. That's not a natural movement for tails. And then, of course, it does rotate on that joint. So this tail could have been done much better. His legs could have been much better. But overall, I still like the way this figure came out. So what we're going to do now is actually take a little break, get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. So sit tight, everyone. And so here we have the lizard posed for my final thoughts. Overall, despite the fact this figure has some glaring issues, I still think he's a really nice figure to have in your collection. Now, I know his legs don't straighten up as much as I would like, but for being a hulking lizard figure, this is probably a really good, accurate representation of what the lizard can do. I don't expect lizard throwing any sort of karate kicks or anything extreme, so this figure actually does fit in my collection. I have seen some collectors actually modify their lizard figures, but I'm actually content with the way he came out. If there's one issue I have with him, it's the tail. The joints that they have in his tail, there's no other way to put it, are stupid. However, if you can overlook this issue with his tail and his legs, he is still a really nice figure. The sculpt on him is amazing. Just everything on him is well executed except for his legs and his tail. Other than that, he's a really nice figure. If you can find the Lizard Build-A-Figure series and actually complete your Lizard, he's gonna look great in your collection and you won't be disappointed. I was actually lucky enough to pick up my entire case on Big Bad Toy Store, so if you are looking to pick up the case, at the time I'm making this video, the Lizard series is still available on Big Bad Toy Store. With that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other Marvel Legend videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.